The conference room at Vanguard Tech Solutions smelled like stale espresso and the faint metallic tang of fear. I sat across from Marcus Hale, our new CEO, and Rachel from HR, the folder thick between us like a loaded weapon. My name, Elena Harper, Senior Compliance Architect, sat embossed on the cover in cold corporate font. 12 years of my life reduced to this moment. Marcus tapped the folder with a manicured finger. Sign it or pack your things. Elena, we need alignment across the board. Alignment. The word landed like a slap. I opened the pages slowly, the paper whispering under my fingers. There it was, buried in legalese but screaming in bold, retroactive intellectual property ownership, effective 5 years prior. Every framework I designed, every compliance protocol I'd engineered for Pinnacle Pharma's clinical trials, every late-night schema that kept their data secure and audit-ready, all of it would belong to Vanguard. Forever. Even the work I'd conceptualized before they hired me. My throat tightened. I remembered the exact night 5 years ago. Hunched over servers in Pinnacle's Boston facility, manually rerouting access layers during their FDA audit crisis. No one else could untangle the mess.
I did.
And now they wanted to own that too? Rachel offered her practice smile, the kind that never reached her eyes. It's just a standard update. Elena. Legal wants everything streamlined. I met her gaze. This isn't streamlining. This erases me. I couldn't consult anywhere in regulated pharma infrastructure for 2 years. And the IP claim? It's a cage. Marcus leaned forward, his voice smooth as oil. Loyalty means adapting. Elena, you've been invaluable. But we're pivoting to real-time monetization. Your modular systems are holding us back. Invaluable. The word echoed bitterly. I had been the invisible backbone, architecting sandboxed access controls, rotational encryption keys, and layered permissions that let Pinnacle's research teams, finance, and ethics boards operate without leaks or violations. It wasn't flashy. I didn't chase headlines or host investor dinners. I built the plumbing so the whole machine didn't collapse. The room felt smaller, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead like judgmental whispers. I closed the folder with deliberate calm. No tears. No raised voice. Just the soft click of the latch. I stood, gathered my bag, and walked out without another word. The hallway stretched long and quiet. Colleagues glanced up from their desks, sensing the shift in the air, but not understanding. I passed the break room where I'd once spent nights debugging with interns, past the whiteboard still marked with my last integration notes. No one stopped me. The elevator door slid shut, and for the first time in years, the weight lifted slightly from my chest. But freedom came laced with rage.
How dare they?
After everything I'd given, I drove home through Seattle's drizzling rain, replaying every concession I'd made. The missed family gatherings, the vacations I canceled, the trust I'd placed in a company that now saw me as disposable. That weekend blurred into a haze of coffee and documents. I didn't sleep much. Instead, I pored over every contract I'd ever touched, every licensing agreement I'd negotiated during Pinnacle's crises. And there it was, a thread they'd overlooked. Years ago, during Pinnacle's emergency deployment, I'd routed critical routing logic through my personal LLC, Echo Forge Systems. It was a temporary bridge for speed and security, licensed back to Vanguard on renewable terms with a specific reversion clause. If the originating architect was removed without mutual consent, rights reverted immediately. They never questioned it because it worked seamlessly. They never read past the first slides.
Now,
that forgotten clause was my quiet weapon. Monday morning, I returned the unsigned folder to Rachel's desk. No confrontation. No email. Just silence. They thought I was bluffing. They were wrong. By Tuesday, the first confused Slack messages trickled in. Elena, where's the override protocol for Pinnacle's sandbox?
I didn't reply.
The systems I'd built were modular, abstracted, protected by keys only I fully controlled through EchoForge. Marcus called. I let it ring. Legal followed with polite voicemails about clarification. Still, I stayed silent.
Inside,
My heart pounded with a mix of dread and exhilaration. 12 years of loyalty,
condensed to this.
but as I sat in my quiet apartment, staring at the city lights, I felt the first spark of something new. Not revenge. Reclamation. The panic built slowly at Vanguard, like pressure in a fault line. Pinnacle's compliance officers started noticing inconsistencies in audit logs. Access requests timed out. The modular framework that once hummed reliably now returned cryptic errors. No one could explain why. I allowed myself one small smile. They had tried to erase me with a pen. Instead, they had unlocked the door I'd always held the key to. Let me take you back. Because the real story didn't start in that conference room. It started the day I walked into Vanguard Tech Solutions 12 years earlier. Fresh out of grad school, with a head full of ideals about secure data systems saving lives. Seattle was rainy that autumn. Much like now. I was Elena Harper, 26, eager and wide-eyed, assigned to the compliance team supporting early clients like Pinnacle Pharma. Their clinical trial data was a nightmare, fragmented, vulnerable, constantly tripping federal regulations. My first project, redesign access controls so researchers couldn't accidentally expose sensitive patient info while finance ran parallel audits. I worked nights, weekends, sketching layered permissions on napkins at 2 a.m. The breakthrough came during Pinnacle's first major FDA scare. Their legacy system leaked metadata. I proposed a sandboxed, modular architecture, each department isolated, escalations automated, quarantines triggered by anomalies. It was elegant, surgical. Pinnacle's VP of Regulatory Affairs called me personally to thank me. You saved us millions. Elena, this is trust we can build on. That trust became my anchor. Over the years, I refined it. Rotational keys refreshing every 72 hours. Digital watermarks embedded in every data packet. Compliance routing that anticipated breaches before they happened. I became the quiet expert, the one executives called when audits loomed. No glory, but deep satisfaction in knowing lives depended on what I built. Then Marcus Hale arrived 18 months ago. Fresh from a flashy startup. All buzzwords and growth metrics. He called my division Legacy Drag in his first all-hands. We need real-time monetization, not bottlenecks. He replaced key heads with young hires who spoke like TED presenters but couldn't debug a basic permission layer. I tried to adapt at first. Handed off documentation. Ran extra audits. But the writing was on the wall. My intern, a brilliant kid named Jordan, once confided over late-night debugging. They don't get it. Elena, you're the reason Pinnacle stays loyal. Loyalty. The word tasted sour now. Pinnacle's account represented nearly half of Vanguard's infrastructure revenue. Their trials ran smoother because of my protocols. Yet Marcus pushed to internalize everything, stripping external dependencies, unknowingly targeting the very bridges I'd created through EchoForge. I'd set up the LLC quietly years back, not out of paranoia, but practicality. During Pinnacle's crisis, routing critical logic externally sped deployment and isolated risk. I licensed it back to Vanguard on terms I controlled, renewable, with oversight by the originating architect. Clause 7b was buried deep. Unilateral personnel change, without agreement triggered full reversion. No one noticed. Why would they? The system worked flawlessly. Gratitude in corporate America expires faster than milk left in the sun. As Marcus's changes accelerated, I felt the erosion. Missed credits on projects. Budget cuts to my team. Whispers about non-competes tightening.
Still,
I stayed. Foolish hope that good work protected you. That being indispensable meant safety. The weekend before the ultimatum, doubt crept in. I reread old emails, handoff notes, licensing agreements. The Echo Forge clause stared back. A sleeping safeguard. I didn't plan rebellion then, just survival. Returning to the office that fateful Monday, the air felt charged. Whispers followed me. Jordan caught my eye, worry etched on his face. I nodded once, reassuring. The folder waited again. Marcus's voice. Today. Elena. Sign, or it's your last day. I opened it one last time. The retroactive clause mocked me. My finger traced the line claiming my pre-Vanguard prototypes. Calm settled over me like armor. I'll pass, I said simply. No drama. I turned and left. Their silence chased me down the hall. I felt eyes on my back, waiting for breakdown. It never came. Driving away, tears finally stung, not sadness, but release. The city blurred. I had built something enduring. They thought they owned it. They were about to learn otherwise. The first cracks appeared by Wednesday. Vanguard's integration team reported failed logins to Pinnacle's compliance shell. Endpoints returned access denied. Panic emails flew internally. Where are the master keys? Elena's documentation references Echo Forge. Anyone have details? I watched from afar. Through forwarded screenshots from old contacts. No gloating. Just quiet observation. The reversion clause had activated the moment I walked. Rights snapped back to Echo Forge. Vanguard could no longer modify or deploy the framework without my oversight. Marcus paced war rooms, demanding overrides that didn't exist. They scoured Confluence. Old handoffs, nothing comprehensive, because I'd embedded critical logic directly in the structure, protected by keys tied to my entity. Pinnacle noticed first. Their audit logs desynced. Trial data access slowed. The VP emailed Vanguard curtly. Explain the platform inconsistencies immediately. Vanguard's response was evasive. Minor modernization hiccup. Temporary. But Pinnacle didn't tolerate temporary. They had trusted my architecture because it was reliable, transparent, built with their pain points in mind. By Friday, legal reached out to Echo Forge through my attorney, a sharp woman named Carla who specialized in contract enforcement. Her reply was 9 words. Refer to Termination Clause 7b. Reversion applies. No negotiation. No warmth. Vanguard tried again, offering revisions. Shared control. Declined. I focused inward. Updated Echo Forge's planning board. Created a clean slate column. Pinnacle core rebuild. No salvage from Vanguard code. Fresh stack. My team. My rules. The invite came mid-next week. Pinnacle's general counsel. Via secure channel. Lunch. Off record. Urgent clarification needed. We met at a quiet cafe near the biotech corridor. She arrived precisely on time. Poised and direct. We want continuity. Elena. The architecture you designed is foundational. Vanguard shifts are unacceptable during live trials. I nodded, stirring my coffee slowly. The steam curled like unspoken possibilities. We'd like to explore partnering directly with Echo Forge, she continued. As equals, not vendor-client. The words settled warmly. Recognition. Not desperation, pragmatism. Their risk assessments had flagged Vanguard's instability. Every arrow in their system's map pointed back to me. On one condition, I said. I rebuild clean. No inherited baggage. My architecture. My standards. She smiled, the deal clicking into place. We expected that.
No contracts that day. Just understanding.
Power shifting quietly. Driving home, I pulled over, hands trembling on the wheel. This was the dream I'd buried under corporate loyalty, the chance to build forward. Uncompromised. I invited overlooked talent, engineers who threaded security into performance, those who asked hard questions. They came because they'd seen what I built when no one else believed. We weren't salvaging. We were creating better. Chaos at Vanguard escalated. Stock dipped on rumors. Pinnacle's calls intensified. Marcus assured the board it was consolidation review. Internally, eyes avoided contact. JIRA boards locked. Legal pulled frantic audits. A leaked internal thread reached me, redline PDFs questioning Echo Forge's primary licensing. Panic in Slack. Why is Elena's entity still listed? Because I designed it that way, foresight they dismissed. Pinnacle's legal advisor confronted Vanguard on a high-stakes call. Your new endpoints don't align. We didn't authorize shifts. Is Elena still overseeing? The silence was deafening. No, Marcus admitted. She's no longer with us. Then we explore alternatives with her directly. The nail in the coffin. Vanguard tried recovery.
Failed.
I didn't leak details.
Didn't need to.
Results spoke. Within weeks, Pinnacle formalized the pivot. Vanguard's press release was clinical. Clinical precision masking the bleed. Stock plunged further. Investors called it reallocation. Internally, catastrophic oversight, trust erosion. Marcus's calendar went inactive. Transition for personal reasons. HR rolled out new trainings. Hired consultants. Too late. Echo Forge grew deliberately. Word spread in quiet channels, compliance, leads seeking intros. Engineers whispering our name. No bloat. Clean systems. Intentional teams. I ignored Vanguard's follow-ups. Cease and desists. Carla handled them with precision, pointing back to their signed terms. No satisfaction in their fall. It was proof. Quiet expertise matters. Exploited loyalty becomes distance. The Pinnacle Summit ballroom glittered with glass and nerves. I stood backstage. No longer invisible. Keynote slot. Strategic partnerships and secure infrastructure. Marcus, Rachel, and a former lead sat in the second row, squinting at the program. My name flashed. Elena Harper. Founder. Echo Forge Systems. The mic caught my voice cleanly. When infrastructure is critical, trust isn't optional. It's the foundation. Foundations don't shift with trends. Slides showed clean diagrams. Roadmaps, no Vanguard mentions. The audience realized Vanguard's prize client had chosen the woman they tried to erase. Applause built. Real and sustained. Marcus's face broke, lips forming a silent word. The reckoning landed without me speaking his name. The press release followed, Pinnacle ending Vanguard ties cleanly. Stock impact irreversible. Echo Forge thrived, intentional growth. Systems that worked. People who mattered. I built on my terms. No one left to claim it. This leaves the question. When loyalty is weaponized, does walking away quietly make you the villain, or the only one who truly understood the cost of staying? The systems we build echo long after the doors close.